Welcome, seekers of the paranormal. And listen in as we dive into the eerie and unexplained. So turn off the lights as we join Dustin and Luke in exploring the unknown. All right. Ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Exploring the Unknown. I'm Dustin,
I'm Luke.
and we are the hosts with the most ghosts. And today we have on Nancy Timms. She is a former Department of Defense employee and a longtime contactee of extraterrestrials. She says it's time for disclosure. It's time for a global awakening. It's time to talk and accept that we are not alone. We've never been alone. And we are the disclosure. What do you think about that?
It was definitely an interesting conversation. I wish I could have been involved with it a little bit more. But Athena was a little fussy and I don't want to make too much noise.
Yeah, it happens. It was a good conversation nonetheless. To find more information about Nancy, we'll post her links down below in the show notes. A couple of podcast mentions before we get into this episode. We have a website. Luke, what is it?
ExploringTheUnknownPod.com.
That is it. We keep all of our episodes there on the website, and it is updated every week. There is also a blog section that offers a deeper insight on the episodes, as well as many other things. And there's also a merch section.
Go check out the merch. It's awesome. I love it. You buying the merch helps support the show.
Yeah. And speaking of supporting the show, if you're not into the merch, we have a donation section on our website. You can donate through Cash App or PayPal. And there's a little text box there whenever you submit a donation that allows you to write something. So you can put in there a would you rather question, and Luke and I will explore that at the end of a future episode.
About the Bigfoot camping adventure.
Oh, yeah. The Bigfoot camping adventure. That's in the events section on our website. At the end of the year, September 6th and 7th, we're going to be at the Bigfoot camping adventure in Farmington, Pennsylvania. For $50, you can come hang out with us the whole weekend and record some podcasts and talk about Bigfoot and all the other crazy things that are out there in the world.
Yeah, tickets are limited. Last time I saw when we were recording this, there's like 140 tickets left. It might be different by the time this episode comes out.
Yep.
So if you want to hurry up and get your tickets if you want to get.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you had an encounter and would like to come on the show, please reach out to us on the contact page on our website. We would love to hear from you and bring you on and talk about that crazy experience.
Ready to hop into this episode?
I was waiting for it. Yeah, I'm ready. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for reaching out to us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I love doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking into your website a little bit and reading a little bit about your bio. So tell us a little bit, like from the beginning.
Oh, wow. I am a lifelong contactee with interdimensional beings and positive extraterrestrials. This all started for me from the moment of my birth. From my birth on to present day. And I have face-to-face physical contact, which is unusual. A lot of people they either channel or they see maybe a hologram or whatever. But in my case, it is physical face-to-face, consciously awake. It was something that when I was young, it was easy for me to do because the world around me had not put any fears in me. So when they would come, I didn't have any fears or anything, and they would always make it fun for me. If I had been reading, my mother had been reading a storybook to me, they could change the scenery around me. They could change the image that I saw They didn't change themselves into the image, but they could appear to me in my mind as a storybook character. So they went out of their way to always make it enjoyable and something that I would look forward to. And I did. And
Mm-hmm.
it was always that way until I got to around, say, puberty and or junior high age, that age. And that's when I realized from my parents, when I would say I saw beings in my room, and they would say, "Oh, you just had a silly dream. Go back to bed. We don't want to hear about that. You've had a silly dream." So I learned at a very young age that my family didn't want to hear these stories and that they thought it was dreams that I was having. And also, they would tell me, "Now you hush up, you quit talking about this. Or fixing to be around family member, like Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas holidays or going to Girl Scouts or whatever." They would say, "No, you quit talking about that. That's not what people want. They don't want to hear that kind of stuff." And they would tell me that they blocked people up and institutionalized them for talking about these things, and that churches look upon it as demonic and things like this. So I learned at a very young age that not only my family didn't want to hear about it, but the rest of the world didn't either. So I was okay with it. And like I said, when junior high age, I started reading books on my own. I started seeing movies, and I started occasionally hearing comments that people would say about extraterrestrials. And that threw up a guard around me. And what I once what was not scared of, I began to question in my mind. So when I have the ability, I know when they're fixing to come. I can feel it in my soul, I can feel it. It's a frequency change in my body that I experience. So at that age, what I would do is I would pull the covers up and keep my eyes covered. And to be honest with you, telepathically, they probably told me to do that because of them being telepathic. They know everything we feel. So
Mm-hmm.
what would happen was is I would keep my eyes closed, and then when they were there, I would feel the covers come off, and then I would feel a vibrational scan, which was a device that they would hold in their hand, and it did not touch me, but they would run it like from my head all the way down to my toes, and my toes all the way back up, and do this several times. And after a few minutes, at a certain point, I would feel that my body would start to elevate off the bed. And as I would elevate, I would start to look around and look down, and I could physically see that this was physically happening to me. This was not a dream. This was not a out of body experience. This was a physical occurrence that happened quite often. And at the time that this was all happening to me, I had no clue how this was possible. It didn't seem like it could be real because in all of our understanding of physics and being in a 3D world, it is not a thing that a human would be able to do. But I can remember going up through the ceiling and looking around and seeing the insulation and things sitting around in the ceiling. And I'm like, wow, this is real. And then we would continue on. And I would also realize that I was holding the hands of a female extraterrestrial who I later realized was what we call a female gray. She was not gray. She was a reddish brown color. And ever since my birth, I found out that she is always who comes for me, gets me, and she has two other extraterrestrials with her. They always travel in threes, and so she would come collect me and change my frequency, and then she would take me to craft, and then when I would get on craft, her job was pretty much done. I didn't see her until it was time to come home. So when I was young, like I said, I did not understand what all this was going, what this all meant, what was the purpose or anything. I am much older now. I'm 63 years old, and I've been doing this all my life. And I've asked them questions, and I now know that when they were coming and doing the hand scanner and running it back and forth, that we are in a 3D world and we are at a very low frequency. They are at a much higher frequency. They were changing my frequency to match their frequency so that as we traveled to craft, I could travel as they did. And that's how I was able to go through the ceiling or through a window or through a door. It was because they would change vibrationally, change my frequency. So, like I said, I didn't know this until much later on in my life. They gave me periods of time to grow into this. This is not something anybody could do quickly. It's a lot to digest, it's a lot to comprehend. It goes against all of our programming from the minute we're born here on earth. We're taught that we're we're in a 3D world, and we can physically do this, we can only physically do certain things. So, you know, I was very confused. And as I got older and began to have more conscious time with them, and when I got to that age to where I was starting to have fear and anxiety, a lot of times what they would do to me is they would tap me on the head and put me in a functional, kind of like a sedated state without the drug. Just put me in a very mellow, um, just a mellow, non-dramatic uh, attitude or being or state of mind, and then I was fully functional. But the only problem with that is that my memories would be fragmented. I wouldn't have the full conscious memories like I would when I was younger. So I realized that dealing with the fear was something that I would have to work on. And they were patient with me. Even up until now, there's times that they catch me and, it's overwhelming. And I think, oh no, not tonight. Or I think, oh gosh, there's that feeling. And I have to remind myself that I know what the feeling is and that it's okay. Go with the feeling, go with the conscious experience, be open to it. Don't be afraid. And it's not because of what they look like, it's because of the frequency exchange. The frequency exchange is nothing like a human being experiences in our everyday life. And it's so different that our brain does not know how to comprehend this feeling. It's an emotion feeling that we don't naturally sense by any means. So for most people, I think, and I've experienced it myself, fear is the first thing that comes to mind. And it's like when our brain is exposed to something that we don't understand and we can't explain, we get that fear or flight type
Hmm.
triggered in our mind because that goes way back from our DNA when we were in prehistoric changes and everything around us was a predator. So our mind still does that. So I think a lot of people misunderstand their abduction experience. I'm not saying they are wrong. I'm not saying they are lying. I'm saying that because of our programming and because of our DNA and because of their difference in frequency, it's simply things that we don't understand. But hopefully that will change and people will realize that there's nothing to be scared of.
Yeah. You were mentioning the frequency and vibrations. Something that I have happened to me from time to time, and I just had it happen the other day when I was on the phone with him, and maybe you can give me some insight on this if this is similar. But it's like I get these thoughts that seem to come spontaneously. They're more creative. thoughts, but whenever I'm getting the thought, and like I was explaining it to him on the phone, I get this, I get shaky, I get anxious, I get like I feel like I'm vibrating, and I feel like I can't breathe and talk, like I get out of breath.
That's kind of like the same thing that I'm talking about, because our bodies, we do not understand this frequency. So what they were probably doing is giving you a download, and you were experiencing the frequency exchange. And it's like I said, it's not what they look like. It's an unusual feeling in our brains. We just, because of our programming, we don't quite know what to do with these feelings. You don't
Hmm.
know if something's like physically wrong with you, or what. So this sounds like a download is what it sounds like, and along with a frequency exchange. So you're probably reaching a higher level of consciousness, and this is part of the process. And the beautiful part is that it kind of comes in spurts, so that it gives you time to adapt without just totally flipping out.
Yeah, and it seems like after the experience, it takes me some time to regain myself and ground. I can't focus on anything. Like he was trying to tell me something. I'm like, you're gonna have to tell me all this again because I can't pay attention to what you're saying.
Well, you're probably in your mind, you are questioning what happened to you. And for me, I have to make myself not do that. I have to listen to what I'm being told. Go with it. Stop questioning it. Stop, bouncing it around, trying to turn it into something else. It is what it is, and accept it. So finding the acceptance, and in the future, what you should do is keep a pad and pencil close, and start writing these things down. And then as you like take a minute and like meditate, take a breath, and then go back and look at what you wrote down,
Yeah.
would be a good way to do it.
My mom and I have a lot of spiritual conversations, and frequency and vibration seems to be the focal point, almost like just the understanding of what it is to wake up in this world.
It really is. Some people probably will never experience it, or will experience it on a lower scale. And trying to explain that is really hard, because they're looking at you like, what Kool-Aid are you drinking? But it's something that our whole humanity is experiencing right now. And that is why the interdimensionals and the positive extraterrestrials are here now, is because they were not the first group of extraterrestrials to appear and interact with human beings. The first group were the ones that did do abductions, and they were, well, what happened? I'll just start it. Okay. So we have always been at a very low conscious level. Okay. And we have been taken, when I say we, I mean all of humanity, all human beings, not states or whatever. I'm talking about all human beings. Because of our low level consciousness, we have been manipulated, we have been taken advantage of. Okay. And things were done intentionally to keep us this way, because the powers that manipulate and um, our governments, the powers that manipulate our religious systems, our banking systems, our pharmaceutical companies, these higher powers are a group of elites that are in with the cabal, in with the Illuminati, the black hats, the dark government, the um, whatever you want to call them. They've got many different names and titles, but they are a controlling group of really rich elites, and they manipulate all of us to keep us dumbed down. They cannot make money off of intelligent, healthy people. So not only do they keep us at a lower consciousness level, and they do this by toxins in our air, chemtrails, toxins in our water, toxins in our food, pharmaceutical companies pumping us out synthetic drugs that our bodies were never made to embellish or use. They keep us dependent upon fossil fuels. They keep us dependent on a banking system that was programmed in us from birth, giving us a social security number and teaching us that we have to be a slave to a program that was designed a long, long time ago. Our forefathers and stuff were all part of this programming. And but the difference now is that humanity is waking up. We are finally reaching a higher stage of consciousness, and we are waking up. We are realizing these old ways. Our banking systems are breaking down, our religious systems are breaking down. We are realizing these pharmaceutical drugs, some of them just do not really work for us. And a lot of what they throw at us are trial and error. What works for one may not work for another. So we are waking up and realizing, uh, slowly, but we are waking up. Humanity is waking up and realizing that we have been manipulated, controlled. We have been used because of our lower level consciousness, but we are no longer going to stay at that level. So when we start demanding that our things that we eat, our foods, our air, and our planet be treated better, and when we realize that humanity was always supposed to be one, all humans are supposed to be connected and be one. We are all one. They have purposely kept us separated. That's why this goes way back. It didn't just start happening. Racism, uh, negative news, all kinds of negativity. It's all to keep humans in a drama state, in fear, and in conflict with each other, because they've always known once humanity wakes up and comes together as one and becomes united, there is no stopping us. So so many things have been done to suppress us. And when the positive extraterrestrials and the interdimensionals found out about this, when they realized that we were waking up, they started coming down, say around, I don't want to say that this date is accurate, but somewhere in the neighborhood of 2020, somewhere in these neighborhoods of those years, uh, they started coming here in great numbers. And as they were coming here, they had already known that there was certain rogue groups of extraterrestrials that had been doing uh, trading out technology for services they wanted to do, experiments they wanted to do on humanity. So they are not part of the ones that the government had worked with before that traded out technology for and let them like do, like say for example, there was a rogue one race of many over 63 races of grays that are all different colors, all different heights, all have different agendas or tasks that they perform. But that one particular rogue race, they are genetic scientists. All of them were genetic scientists, and they wanted to do genetic research. So they traded out with the government, and they did what people call abductions. But when the interdimensionals and positive saw we are waking up, they told these lower rim, I call them lower rim, and I call them negative, although they are not demonic, that they just simply only care about themselves. They're self-serving. They told them to leave humanity alone. And a lot of people will argue with me, but from what I've been told and what they've visions they've showed me, there are no continuing abductions. Those things ended, and that's because the good guys showed up and told them leave humanity alone. So, so they are surrounding our planet, and they are filling it with love, unity, frequencies that will surround us, that say positive things, that generate love and unity. And they're just sitting there waiting for us to finally reach the point to where we all say we are not alone in the universe. we all say, we understand you are not gods. We understand you are not angels. We understand you are billions of years ahead of us in evolution. We understand that you've seen other beings throughout the universe and different worlds and galaxies go through this same thing. This is new to us, but it is not new to them. So once we realize all this and realize that they're here to assist, not take over, not dramatically change anything, but to assist us, because we are at the most pivotal point in our evolution of mankind. We can either use our technology to destroy ourselves and wipe ourselves out, or we can use it to better humanity. But all of us have to wake up and come together as one and put positive energy around us, our families. And the good thing about this positive energy is that when we start doing it and our children start doing it, other family members will join in. It's kind of like it has a viral type effect. It feels good. It's just like when you were feeling their frequency from getting the download, it feels good. Once you understand what it is, it feels good. And you want to continue feeling like that. And it's like you spread that, and people around you will want to be on that same frequency as you. And you will be instrumental. All humans will be instrumental in spreading it around the world. And that's why I say, we human beings, we are the disclosure. We are what the world has been waiting on. We
Hmm.
are the disclosure. And when we reach this point, it does not matter if our government comes out and says anything. We will already know. We already know these things in our heart. We just have to look within. Remember who we really are, not for me, not the Nancy that the world around it has programmed me into, but I had to go back and find the real Nancy, the Nancy, the one that came here on earth, chose to be here at this time, the Nancy that has a purpose for being on this planet and a mission to help humanity. And we all made a choice to be here at this time. People don't realize this, but we all made a choice to be here, and we are the disclosure.
Yeah. Um, that reminds me of something that my mom and I talk about a lot, which is soul families or soul contracts that we've we've pretty much written what we're going to do here, how it's going to happen, and we just come here and live it.
Exactly. Yep. And, and they wipe our memories out when we get here.
Hmm.
I've been fortunate enough that I had, let's say, bleed in memories of knowing I belong somewhere else, bleed in memories. And about, oh, 2.5 years ago, I lose track of time. Um, I was in the bed asleep, and all of a sudden, the interdimensionals and the extraterrestrials pull me up off the bed, and they gave me a Kundalini awakening. And my body jilted straight forward, and I was sitting upright in the bed, and I was like this. And all of a sudden, it was like these surges of energy came through me all the way down to the base of my hips. And then it went back up. I went back on the bed, and then they pulled me back up, and they did that 3 times. It scared the daylights out of me. I had no clue, no warning. You know, I was not a person that really sit around meditating like some of these
Yeah.
monks and things like that. So it was. I didn't even know what Kundalini was.
Hmm.
I had no clue, but I did know that after that happened, it was, and they explained to me, they opened my subconscious up into my human consciousness. And that's how most of my, and they've always told me throughout my life, you already know. Now I understand it was in there, but my human consciousness was blocking a lot of it out. But now they've opened it up, and I remember a lot of things. I remember, I can, I, they showed me a vision, but I saw myself being born. I saw myself making the decision to come to earth and choosing to be here at this momentous time in humanity. And I know that all of us did the same thing. You know,
Hmm.
it's just different people on different stages of waking up in different soul contracts.
Hmm.
And a lot of people also ask me, well, you know, why don't they come down here and just fix everything? Well, they can't, because human beings are here on free will. That is part of the cosmic law. Okay. But the rogue race of grace and other races that have had, I guess, abductions or contact with human beings overstep those boundaries. Um, the interdimensionals and the positive extraterrestrials will only get people that are in direct lineage with them, and they have to have permission from the human being. Whereas ones that were here before and did that contract with the government, they just randomly picked people, and it was they overstepped the boundary of humans being here on free will, and they broke the cosmic law. And when they did that, they were outcast from the rest, and they were no longer part of the collective consciousness of all the interdimensionals and positive extraterrestrials. They are considered a outcast, a rogue league. So with that said, basically they most of them left, but some are still here. But they showed me visions of mass numbers of craft leaving our planet because they knew that they cannot go up against these interdimensionals and positive extraterrestrials. For one, they are massive, big number. Two, the interdimensionals are of higher technology. And when they disassociated themselves from the positive and the interdimensionals, the lower rim extraterrestrials really, they are not interdimensional. They cannot become interdimensional because they do not receive any of the technology or the good graces from the interdimensionals. The positives can travel interdimensionally because the interdimensionals have shown them how to do it and have allowed them to do it. Humans, we have the potential to become interdimensional. We have great potential. We're like this little hidden gem throughout the universe. We are the ones that have not woke up and realized who we are and how special we are. We have DNA in us that has not even been activated and has been purposely dumbed down, suppressed. Our pineal glands are crystallized because of all the toxins that the food that we eat and all these things. Everything, this has been going on for a very, very long time. Everything has been done for a very, very long time to keep us at a lower level, a controllable, manipulated race. So this is a big wake up call for humanity. It's a big wake up call for the universe and all other extraterrestrials and beings in it. We have finally reached the pivotal moment, and it's a great thing, not only for us, but for them, because what they taught me is that we are all one and we are all connected. And when I say that, here's what they told me. They told me our planet is a living conscious being. It has a consciousness. All other planets are living conscious beings. Our trees, our plants, our water, our everything has a living conscious being. Plants may not have the exact same consciousness level as we do, but they are all living conscious beings. We are all connected and we are all one. When we take off this vessel that we're all wearing, our body suits, we are all energy beings and we are all alike. There should be no racism. There should be nothing of this nature. We are all alike, and so are the interdimensionals and the extraterrestrials. We are all one. So you've heard that saying, as above, so below, or something like that. It's true. Whatever we do down here will ripple and affect our whole world, our planet, and up into the universe and extraterrestrials and interdimensionals, because we are all connected. So we are waking up and realizing our connections and our place in the cosmic realm. We are part of it. So when we start playing with weapons of mass destruction and nuclear weapons, not only does that destroy us, it destroys our beautiful planet. It destroys the abundant nature of our planet. It rocks everything. It rocks our planet, makes it unstable in the universe, which ripples in and affects the universe. They are not going to let us do that, because they're not necessary. It's not just us they're trying to save. They're trying to save our planet and everything on it, including the indigenous people that have no clue that we even have these technologies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Um, y- Thank you for sharing your awakening experience. And I know I probably had a face because my mom explained that exact thing to me. She went through that specifically, and at the time, she didn't know what was happening, and it freaked her out. And I know she's listening right now, and I'm sure she's super stoked that she's not the only one.
it's going to start, and that's why I want to bring this up, because as we all reach higher consciousness, this is going to happen probably to more and more and more, possibly everybody. And I would like for them to understand and embrace it, not be like me, not knowing. It took me, I wouldn't even talk about it for a while, because I didn't know if I had a near death experience. I didn't know if I died and somehow made it through it. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could analyze this, and I finally just asked the interdimensionals to explain it to me, and they did. And of course, they said, you already know. Because we know a lot
Yeah.
of things, we just have it suppressed.
I think a lot of
Yeah,
times we doubt ourselves.
yeah. I still work on that, because they'll tell me, you already know. And I'm like, so we have to look within ourselves, find our true inner self. And what I do is I ask, when I go to bed at night, I have my little meditation, and or prayer, whatever you want to call it. And I ask for my subconscious to open up more into my human mind. And I tell my subconscious, I am ready. I want to know it all. I want to know. Please remove all the barriers and let me remember, because I want to. And for the record, extraterrestrials and interdimensionals have souls. They are all biological, including the grays. They are biological, and they all believe in a creator source. Um, they do not look at God, our human version of God, like we do, and they do not have the human religious beliefs or anything like that. Those are all man made, but they do believe in a creator source, neither male or female, and he is of the highest frequency, vibrational frequency, and he created everything, and he or she is over all things. It's neither he or she.
Yeah. Sorry, my daughter just walked in the room.
That's okay.
Um, nah, she's closing the door.
Yeah. So I do know
um,
too that I was an interdimensional before I came here. So through me, not only have they using me as an instrument. I don't like the word used, because I agreed to be here and I agreed to do this, and I recall this. Uh, but through my eyes and through my son's eyes, because they are experiencers just like I am, through our eyes, they know what it's truly like to be a human being. And it has not been a piece of cake for anyone in my family. We've had good things, we've had bad things. I've been through two traumatic divorces and thought it was the end of the world, fighting over children and everything horrible imaginable that can happen. So they know that it's hard to be a human being. They know it is not a piece of cake. And it was not being a piece of cake being a human being, or being a person that came here to be who I am and try to be accepted among other human beings. That was not easy either. So, but now, 20 years ago, I probably would have said, I would never want to do this. Now, my opinion is I'm proud of who I am. I know who I am. I know where I'm going after I leave Earth. I know what my purpose here is. I'm happier than I've ever been. And I see things more positive. I don't see the negative things in the world, and I've learned my values have changed. I'm a better human being because of all of it. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's amazing. There
Mhm.
was a couple of things that I seen in your bio that you had said that the extraterrestrials had explained to you that I was kind of interested in. If you don't mind diving
Sure.
into that a little bit,
Sure.
um, I had seen that they had told you or tried to or to encourage you to take herbs.
Yes. When I was in my 20s, and that's when I first realized that this was not just about me. We were on a vacation in Florida at a Marriott hotel on the beach, and I felt a presence, and I raised up, and there were three grays. These were not the grays that normally come for me. These were three very short grays, and they were wearing high collars and robes. And as they saw me raise up, one approached me and pushed me down and telepathically said, "This is not about you." And so I laid down, and he put me in a sleep paralysis. And then they proceeded to go over and get my two sons. And I witnessed their what I saw. I witnessed what I considered was their first experience, may or may not have been. And I was very traumatized by this, very upset. And the next day, I asked my children, because I went to sleep, and when I woke up, they were safely in their bed, and we went to breakfast. And I asked them if they had any strange dreams or anything. No, they had no memory of it. But when I got back home, I sat down, formed what I thought was a safe circle around me, and meditated for face to face contact, and for information to be given to me to explain what was the purpose, what was the meaning, etc. And they did come for me, and they took me aboard a craft and took me before what they called a group of elders. And these elders were of many different races, and they were interdimensionals, and but different. They were not all of the same race, and I couldn't tell you how many. And I went before them and asked them, why was this happening to me? And that's when they showed me the vision of myself making a decision to come here. And then they also told me, for me, now this doesn't mean for everyone, but they told me to take herbs. They told me to always choose the color blue for whatever reason. The color blue would be something that when I had to make a choice and decisions in life, to choose blue and always take herbs. And later on through my life, as they've explained to me about the plants and about all things are put, they told me all things were put here on earth when we were all created. All things were put here to be connected and assist each other to make us all thrive. In other words, trees need us, and we need trees. They provide the air that we breathe. And we have taken advantage of our situation and don't appreciate the nature around our world or our planet. But all things were put here for us to thrive. And there's a cure for every disease on this planet. It was put here. So they're either sitting on the technology, or maybe they haven't found some of it. I would say it's probably they're sitting on the technology. So we do not need the synthetic medications. Everything we need is here. So they were telling me to take herbs, have faith in what we have on earth. It was here for a reason. So they told me that in my 20s, and I did. I took all kinds of herbs left and right. I was taking so many, my family would laugh at me, but that's what I was told. And I understand now as an adult that we have the ability, if we get in the right way of thinking, the right psyche, we have the ability to heal ourselves. we can live longer lives. We have been programmed and told that we're only going to live like the 60s, 70s, so in our minds, biologically, we're turning our clocks off and preparing ourselves to cease to exist. Those things need to change. Those things were done intentionally because they just soon get rid of us and get more people to make better production. So, but now that we're waking up, people are going to live longer, healthier lives. So our social systems will have to change because we will live longer, and we will we will learn to live healthier. So these companies that have all these pharmaceutical companies are going to dwindle away with time. And we're going to learn that by eating healthy. So a lot of these companies that make all this money off of us feeding us these horrible foods, we'll quit buying it. And this is something that it's not going to happen overnight, but it has to start somewhere, and it's starting. We are reaching that frequency and higher consciousness. We're reading a higher dimension, and I want to make it known that dimensions are not physical places. Dimensions are higher consciousness, higher consciousness. And as
Yeah.
we reach higher consciousness, we will be more aware of our world around us. Being in the 3D world, we can only see certain things. We can only use our five senses to experience the world that we're in. As we reach fourth or fifth, we're going to expand and go past those five senses. We're going to see the trees communicating. We're going to see the extraterrestrials in our sky because they are not hiding from us. We simply can't see it. And,
Yeah.
so it's hard for people to wrap their head around these things. But, and I know this for a fact, and they've demonstrated this to me. They could be in the room with me right now, and I'm not seeing them, but they could pick this up and move it and let me know that they're here. And they have done that to me before. They have done that. I've been in different places, and they'll take a clock that uh, runs on a battery, and they'll take the dial and just move the dials around to let me know that they're there. So,
Yeah.
they are billions of years ahead of us in evolution. And here's another thing. For us, technology is on the side, right? We develop,
Hmm.
we make the technology. Higher consciousness is their technology. Their craft are living conscious beings. When they fly a craft, their pilot gets in, who was genetically designed to be a pilot. His consciousness matches up with the craft's consciousness, and he merely thinks where he wants to go, and bam, they go. So
I want.
they are there is no such thing as technology like we have it, and they've explained to me about our technology is a man-made tool. Keep it as a
Mhm.
man-made tool. In other words, don't let certain elites be in charge of it like they are now, and understand it is a man-made tool. Keep it as a man-made tool and use it to benefit all of humanity, and it can do beautiful, beautiful things. And they've showed me visions of how our lives will change, and we will no longer have these jobs that we hate, but choose jobs that we love doing, and not have to work the long physical hours. And it's more of an enjoyment, more like a hobby job. It's not like it is now where people slave over two or three. People slave and take care of other people's kids and miss out on their own children's life. In the future, we will learn to better ourselves and only choose things to better and keep us happy. And we will stay in a more positive uh, frame of mind, living longer lives, happier experiences, because right now we are slaves to a system. People don't
Mhm.
realize it, but we are slaves to a programmed system. And it's kind of like people say in the matrix, we are programmed into a matrix, and we are breaking free and realizing that we don't have to be controlled. We will not be manipulated, and that we can live beautiful, wonderful lives. And we are making a change. We are the stepping stones for the future generations, for our grandchildren's children. And they
Hmm.
will look at us, and I think we'll go down in history as being the generation that made this change and recognize through higher consciousness that we're going to start doing it. And it won't happen overnight, but we have to start doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned the Matrix, and it reminded me, there's sometimes where I feel like I slip out of the Matrix consciously. Uh, I'll be talking to somebody, and all of a sudden I have this feeling like, oh, we're not the same. We're not the same, or something. Like I don't belong here. Like I'm not a human. I'm completely different. I'm just
Yeah.
here, and this is how I can interact with the physical.
Well, for extraterrestrials and interdimensionals, there is no such thing as time.
Hmm.
Time is made up by human beings. So for them, everything is happening all at once. So as we reach higher consciousness in higher frequencies, we're going to start realizing some things. Like there's a lot of things going on around us, and we're going to start noticing these things. And you're going to have what you had happen, where you stop and think, "Whoa, something's different here."
Hmm.
So that's part of it. Yeah. And a lot
It's
of people
interesting.
won't even recognize that we've reached another dimension because in its design, and if you've noticed everything about our planet and Earth and the way that our moon, everything has been done by intentional design in a beautiful way. Uh, you know, certain shapes, I can't think of the name of the shape I want to say, but like the Nautilus shell, the Fibonacci sequence, all these different
Hmm.
things, you have to admit some creator source absolutely knew what they were doing, for
Hmm.
all these things. Even the human body is pretty unique in itself. So there's a lot of things that we just have to realize we don't know everything, and maybe never will. And
Right.
but what we've been programmed and think we know, we're fixing to find out a lot of things that we didn't know, but it's just going to be more and more. There's always going to be more stuff that we need to know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Um, did at any point during your time in contact with these extraterrestrials, did they explain religion?
They do not believe in religions like we do. They believe in a creator source. And there is nothing, you believe in creator source. You don't,
Hmm.
there's no made up different versions of religions for them, just like there is no time. And just like there is no technology, they are the technology. They've reached
Mm.
that power of consciousness. And another thing, too, that they explained to me is through our higher consciousness, through our evolutionary process, we will outgrow negativity. We will outgrow wars. We will outgrow crimes. We will keep moving away from these things because it no longer serves us. It
Hmm.
no longer serves us. And all it's done was keep us in a lower frequency and repetitious patterns of doing the same thing. So we are now going in an upward spiral, moving out, and we will become galactic. We will join the cosmic realm and be part of the galactic realm. And there's many, many beings out there. There's many, many galaxies, many, many universes, and the, even our own solar system. Every planet out there is teeming with life. We just don't visibly see it. And they may not be living on top surface like we are, but they're living somewhere, either in the atmosphere or underground, or even they're living a dimension that we don't see. So
Yeah. Um, I think I kind of went through all my questions. Thank you so much for coming on. Is there any socials or anything like that you would like to plug?
well, yes, I am going to. I'll have my website,
Hmm.
timefordisclosure.com, and I have my Facebook group, time for disclosure slash we have never been alone slash we are the disclosure. And I truly believe that human beings are. We always think that we need somebody else to tell us things, but we don't. We are intelligent beings. And as we
Hmm.
get, you know, that's just the way we were programmed. But we're waking up and we're going to realize it doesn't matter what the government does or says. We will
Yeah.
already know. So, yeah, I have all those and I belong to many different groups and they're
Hmm.
all good. And I think that people should come and join and get your foot in the toe if you've never been in there. It's a good place to find out links to information, links to meetup groups, conferences, even locally in your area, or even some people that might be struggling with their experiences and not understanding whether it's good, bad, and they want to talk to therapists. We have group of therapists that belong in these groups and they specialize in working with people to understand their situation because everybody's is different and not
Right.
everybody has somebody at home they can talk to. I have my sons, you have your mother, but not everybody has somebody that they can talk about these things to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people are uncomfortable talking about it because they feel like they might be shunned or judged.
exactly. And fortunately, we're in a position to where it is out there and we can talk about it more. But there is still a lot of people that, you know, they don't want to hear it all, and be
Yeah.
patient, be patient. We don't want to push things on people until they're ready. So just let them know that when they are ready, you're there for them. So, because it's a lot. It took me a long time to absorb all this. It's a lot. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Baby steps.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's worth the wait. It really is.
Yeah. Luke, did you have anything that you wanted to add? You kind of been quiet this whole time. Oh, I can
I'm
see the
dealing with
way.
her. She's been nonstop since she. So I've been listening. I was listening. I just couldn't really be involved in the conversation because she won't stop screaming. It's her nap time, so she's getting sleepy. So
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Well, did you have something else that you wanted to add, Nancy?
Well, I do plan on trying to go to some conferences,
Hmm.
and I'm be trying to get more vocal and speaking at bigger functions. Um, I would like to write a book at some point, not to make money, but to be out to get the message out there because people we've been lied to for so long and
Hmm.
there's so much misinformation out there. People deserve the truth and
Yeah.
people deserve to know the correct information. So I do plan on doing some things like that. And I do hope that when I write a book that I can do it in different languages. And I am trying to. I try to do podcasts. I've done them in Portugal, Mexico, Thailand, London, Germany, Canada, everywhere I can.
Hmm.
I mean, for me, this is not a United States thing. This is not a
Hmm.
Nancy Timms thing. This is not about me, and this is not about the United States. This is a worldwide phenomenon, and I
Hmm.
want to reach the world. If I could go to the United Nations, I would go. I've tried to write the ambassadors already because this is a worldwide phenomenon, and all of us are important, and we are all the disclosure, in my opinion. Yeah,
Yeah. And I'm so glad you're doing the work because there's not a lot of people out there that's doing that.
yeah, and for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah. A lot of
I'll
people want the
admit at
money.
that. But thank you for y'all doing this podcast because this is the only way that I have at this point, other than my website and other than my thing. But people will hear about this through you, so
Hmm.
you're an instrument for me to put my information out there. So thank you for allowing me to be on your show and do this. And I hope if
Yeah.
I come up with some new information and new things, I would love to be on your show again. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
absolutely. Yeah, we
Yeah.
would love to have you back on. Believe it or not, you're the first person that's ever actually reached out to us on their own.
I'm on a mission. I'm
That's
on a
awesome.
mission. This is not about me. This is about humanity, and this is the biggest thing that's ever happened to human beings ever, that since our very beginning, and
Hmm.
we're all a part of it. We really
Hmm.
are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we won't hold you on any longer.
Okay.
We'll be sure to post your links down in the show notes. That way it's easier for people to find you. And
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome on anytime.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a
Thank you.
wonderful weekend.
You
You
do
too.
the same.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Exploring Name. Today we had a great time talking to Nancy, and she has some pretty cool stuff she talks about and her experiences with extraterrestrials and interdimensionals. Don't forget to go check out the website at exploringtheunknownpod.com. And go check out the merch section. We also have a blog where you can find deeper stuff into the episode. And you can find all our podcasts on the website as well. And also all our socials. Do you have anything else you want to add to that about the
If you
website?
I think you covered just about all of it. At the end of the year, we have an event coming up, September 6th and 7th, the PA Bigfoot Camping Adventure. If you guys want to come check that out in Pennsylvania, Farmington, Pennsylvania, for $50, you can come hang out with us for the entire weekend. Well, I don't think it's the entire weekend. I think it's just Friday and Saturday. But yeah, you can come hang out with us, sit down, have a little chit chat about some weird stuff. It'll be cool.
If you buy merch, it helps us support the podcast. And another way to support the podcast is Cash App and PayPal. If you send a donation, it doesn't even have to be a crazy amount, just something small to help out the show. You type in the description below and put a would you rather question in, and we'll answer it on the future episode.
Yeah. Yep, on that little text box that they offer on the Cash App or PayPal options. And also, if you've had an encounter and would like to come on the show, please reach out to us on the contact page on the website, and we'll review it and try to get you on. Talk about some weird things.
Another thing is the affiliate links.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention them earlier.
GhostStop, it's ghost hunting equipment. If you want some ghost hunting equipment, go to GhostStop and the link below. And that helps us support the show too. Amazon. You want to tell them about Amazon?
Yeah, sure. We'll provide the link down below in the show notes. You go buy anything through that link on Amazon, and your purchase will help support this podcast so that we can keep releasing amazing content like we do.
Ready for the would you rather question?
I am ready for the would you rather question. Are you ready for the would you rather question?
I am.
Okay, so just a little explanation before we get into this would you rather question, because I don't think we really explained what we do. So we go into ChatGPT. If you're unfamiliar, it's an AI website, and we ask Chat to give us a would you rather situation involving whatever relative creature, whatever that we're talking about on the podcast. So today was extraterrestrials. I butchered that word. Anyways, here we go. Would you rather have a close encounter with extraterrestrial life forms on a distant, unexplored planet where you can witness their advanced civilization firsthand, or establish peaceful communication with a group of extraterrestrial visitors who land on Earth, becoming humanity's first ambassador to an alien species?
That's difficult.
That I feel like is a really good one.
I think I would rather go with the first one and go see how they live and what type of things they do on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think I would probably choose the same. Just because I don't feel like I'm the ambassador type. I think that's a job for Nacey,
Yeah,
She should
neither
become
am I.
humanity's first ambassador to an alien species.
I agree.
Oh man, this was fun. Thank you again, Nancy, for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think that's about it, man.
No, I'll say so. See you next week on the next episode of Extraterrestrial.
Ooh, see you guys.